We're already at the 4th episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and my, how time flies. To be honest with you, I have been wanting this episode for some time now, and although some parts are not what I expected, I still really enjoyed this type of episode. Spoiler warning, this Star Trek video review will contain spoilers for Strange New Worlds Episode 4. As such, turn away now if you don't want to be spoiled. You've been warned. Greetings everyone, welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get straight into it. Today we're of course talking about Episode 4, titled Memento Mori. It's directed by Dan Liao and written by David Perez and Bio Di Maio. Now the episode title is of course Latin, and maybe a reference to what's actually going on in the episode. If we translate it to English, it means, remember that you have to die. I imagine this relates to Lana's imprisonment on the Gorn nursery planet when she was a child, as well as her being the only survivor. Now like always, before we do actually get into this video about all the good Star Trek news and information, particularly the review, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more like we just mentioned, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from myself and the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. Oh, and don't forget, comment your thoughts down below in the comment section, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then of course we want to hear about it. Okay, hit it. This episode gives us more backstory for the character of Lan Noonien Singh. She is also played by flashbacks of her past, specifically of her brother Manu Noonien Singh. We knew her brother would be appearing at some point in the series. Early casting information, which Trek Central reported, now confirms that actor Cameron Roberts is playing Manu. Manu seemingly sacrificed himself so that Lan would survive in the Gorn world she and her colony ship survivors found themselves in. I'm thinking he died on the Gorn planet, or likely just sacrificed himself so that Lan would survive the hunting of the Gorn. Thanks to casting information, it is likely we'll be seeing more of Manu sometime in the future, especially if we might be seeing the Gorn sometime in the series again. It is clear that Lan is suffering from PTSD, and is trying, but almost failing, to suppress her memories. Thanks to help from Mr. Spock and a Vulcan mind meld, she can explore these memories, which are surprising. Specifically, finding the Gorn code that her brother developed after observing a species during his imprisonment on the planet. You know, what I really like about the mind meld scene is both the fact we got to see a mind meld in Strange New Worlds, and also that Lan was able to see into Spock's mind in a sense. It would seem she touched on the missing information surrounding the USS Discovery, and Michael Burnham, who was Spock's adopted sister. While Lan specifically didn't find out the classified information, she now has a bit more of an insight into Spock's life, and perhaps the Discovery itself. Perhaps if Lan knows at least that Spock lost a sister, they might be able to connect from the shared lost sibling pain. Now speaking of the Gorn, this episode was met with some concern by Star Trek fans, due to the appearance of the Gorn, especially as this could somewhat conflict with already established events such as Captain Kirk and the Gorn Captain event. I guess we could argue that seeing as they're not specifically seen on screen, then it would not break canon I guess. I've not had time to fully look over this yet, so it remains to be seen. Officially, first contact between the Gorn and the Federation wouldn't happen until 2267, and in that episode, the Arena, the Gorn are using a new unknown Starler vessel, so I guess the Federation is going to have this bogeyman of Gorn at the edge of space before they finally make first contact. Now the Gorn combat scenes were fantastic, because we also got to see the new look at some of the Gorn ships. I'm really hoping this is not the last time we see the Gorn in Strange New Worlds, and judging by Lan's point at the end, of them venturing further out into space, this seems like a cryptic hint at what is going on out there in the final frontier. You can almost feel like the writers and production team wanted to give us a glimpse of the Gorn on screen. However, sadly they couldn't. I am really hoping we get the chance to see a newly designed Gorn on screen sometime soon. We are aware of concept art as well. This could be done via flashbacks of a character like Lan, therefore not violating canon in a sense. That does remain to be seen for now, I hope it's true. If we do see Manu Noonien Singh again, even after he seemingly sacrificed himself, this could be a great way to see a Gorn in a flashback from Manu's point of view. As a quick one, if you want your burning Strange New Worlds questions answered, then don't forget that Team Trek Central are live this week on YouTube at 2100 BST, 1600 ET, and 1300 ET to discuss all things Strange New Worlds on Sunday. Join Commander Dom, Starfleet Boy, and Tech Trek as they discuss the Trek and answer all your questions. See you there, the times are on screen now, and I look forward to chatting with you. One of the many details we got a glimpse of this episode is the Starfleet memorial pins. Originally we saw these in the trailer for Strange New Worlds, then on display at Star Trek Mission Chicago earlier this year. Now we're finally seeing them in action. These pins are given out to Starfleet personnel who have served on starships that have seemingly perished. As an example of this, Captain Pike wears a pin of the USS Discovery during Starfleet Remembrance Day. Additionally, Lan has an SS Puget Sound pin, which he initially chose not to wear at the start of the episode. The SS Puget Sound is the colony ship Lana was on when it was abducted by the Gorn. Other crew members are all seen wearing them, but we do have a full breakdown of those pins later on in another video, so stay tuned for that. Remembrance Day is introduced in this episode, and I think it makes sense. It would be great to see him make a reappearance in future Star Trek series. For example, imagine having pins for the Enterprise C, or perhaps the USS Defiant and ships like that. It would make total sense and be awesome. I guess fans could always design them. Then again, I've seen pins collected them both in universe and out of universe, so it's pretty cool. The episode overall gives us a fantastic amount of time with the crew of the Enterprise, such as both Chief Engineer Hemmer and Dr. M'Benga. We're quickly growing to appreciate these characters even more, especially as we spend more time with them. Hemmer's story is also really cool, as Uhura asks why a pacifist Anar would actually choose to serve on a Starfleet vessel. One point that sticks out is Hemmer saying he will not fight for Starfleet. I imagine this is deliberately mentioned here so it can be brought up at some point later on. Yes, I highly think that Hemmer will find himself in a situation where he may have to fight for Starfleet, perhaps for the sake of the crew and the ship. Something that motivates him to break this rule he has imposed on himself. Or we can find Hemmer in a position where he bends rules and doesn't fight for Starfleet, but still helps for his crew in a situation where he does have to fight. Hemmer is one of those guys I can see using semantics to keep his passive ways, but will still help the crew if they are in need, similar to how Mr. Spock bends the rules occasionally. While we get time with Dr. M'Benga, we also get more of Nurse Chapel's bedside manner, which works really well, especially when dealing with a badly injured number 1. It would seem that Starfleet medical personnel around the 2250s to the 2260s just didn't get training in bedside manner. Considering Bones, this does make sense. Not that I'm complaining though, it does become across as funny and sort of, makes sense for the sake of it. One of the many things that was great in this episode was seeing the Enterprise in combat maneuvers, especially as the ship not only engages the Gorn vessel during the orbit of the colony, but also during the gas cloud scenes. With the gas cloud scenes, this very much reminds you of the Wrath of Khan, where the ship has to navigate without sensors and systems. We're getting this sort of submarine combat style, basically the crew navigating these hostile environments. Additionally, another episode this reminded me of is the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode. This is where the Defiant gets attacked by Dominion starships and is heavily damaged, having to go into a hyperbaric barrier, or whatever it was called. You know the episode I'm on about, Quark is holding a torpedo the whole time. Something that sticks out, and I was wondering about the black hole scenes. Would the Enterprise experience the effects of time dilation? Specifically, flying close to the accretion disk of a black hole means that time moves slowly compared to the rest of the universe at the time. We're seeing some effect of that during the decoying scene, but it's just some food for thought, I guess. Though I do have to say, the visuals of the black hole, just like we saw in Discovery, are fantastic, and I really love that they're updating the visuals of a scientific phenomenon now that we know more of them from when we first did in the 1990s. I love it. Science evolves. Science leads. Another element we deal with in this episode is the Enterprise hull being compromised. Pike has to make a choice with the whole crew in sealing the bulkheads, which we do see him lose a crew member. We almost lost Chief Kyle, but he gets saved by the young officer who pushes him through the bulkhead door. Thankfully we did not lose Kyle, as I'm not sure I'd be ready for that just yet. Pike is still dealing with the trauma of losing the Discovery, and also the knowledge that he'll eventually meet his fate. I imagine this does make him wary and concerned about losing crew members and such. Though I will say, it is nice to see Mr. Spock confirming he made the right decision in sealing the bulkheads, and ensuring the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. During both Lana and Spock's trip out in the shuttlecraft, Pike orders them to take the shuttlecraft Galileo. Now you might think that this is the same Galileo shuttlecraft that would eventually be used by Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock during the 2260s. However, that does not appear to be the case. This shuttlecraft is the Stamets type, rather than the typical Class F that the Galileo was. It is nice that a Starfleet shuttle named after Stamets is present. The scientist was co-opted into the war and served well on the Discovery. Obviously, spore drive research and what actually happened in Discovery is classified, but not him, or the USS Discovery, with official records stating that it was destroyed. It's also why Pike has a remembrance badge of the Discovery as well, to commemorate those who died on board the ship, or died on board the ship. I am not sure if this is a misalignment of a class in a sense, as both the Class F and the Stamets type do appear to be very similar. Perhaps the Galileo gets changed to a Class F at some point in the future, or they just build another shuttlecraft Galileo, to be assigned to the Enterprise later on. That would make sense, but it's somewhat confusing. Either way, it's some nice little details for Trekkies I think, and if you caught that Easter egg, well done. So overall, this was a fantastic episode in my opinion. It's one I've been looking forward to for some time now. Seeing the Enterprise in action and taking the typical Star Trek damage of sparks and rocks falling from the ceilings, you honestly love to see it. The Crisis of the Week episode format works really well for episodes like this. also allowing us to explore more of the main cast of the characters for the series. If I had to pick a point that didn't gel with me in this episode, it kind of felt like the story lost a bit of momentum during the action scenes. Specifically the Enterprise managing to escape to the gas cloud a bit too quickly for me to like. In terms of combat and such, I wish we'd spent more time seeing shots being taken and damage being sustained on the ship. Looking at this, I think seeing more would have helped hammer home the damage in a sense. Maybe it's just me and wanting more destruction though. I do love a good ship blowing up in Star Trek. Looking at you, Star Trek Enterprise, Azadi Prime, you know what I mean. So, what do you think of the latest episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds? Let us know in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Get commenting. Don't forget we're live on this Sunday, and we look forward to you joining in and discussing with us. But as always, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. As always, I've been Captain Jack here on Trek Central. Thank you for watching, and we will see you very soon. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.